Number six. This is from Kevin Kelly's book, Excellent Advice for Living. Kevin Kelly's book, Excellent Advice for Living. The tip is, a multitude of bad ideas is necessary for one good idea. I'll say that again. A multitude of bad ideas is necessary for one good idea. Now, why is that one hitting me so hard? Because it reminds me of another quote that I think about. To make an omelet, you have to crack a few eggs. I'll say that one again. To make an omelet, you have to crack a few eggs. So the reason that I really love that quote and the omelet quote is because there are people out there who'll never give you that little bit of time to fail. It's like, if you're going to do this, it better be perfect or we're not doing it at all. But the real thing is that you have to have some bad ideas. You have to experiment. Things have to break. Things can't work. That's how you learn. You think Thomas Edison was in his lab and every single thing he ever did worked? No. He probably broke more stuff than he ever invented. He burnt the whole lab down. The whole thing went on fire. You know what he did? He called his wife and his kids as the thing was burning, and he said, listen, honey, listen, kids, you got to see this. You may never see a fire like this big ever again, instead of lamenting over all the mistakes he made. Some of the greatest things in the world came from mistakes. So really, that's an environment I can't live in. It's hard to live in when you can't make a mistake. It's hard to try and put in the perfect football play and run it once and hope that it scores a touchdown or you never run it again. You have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to be willing to experiment. That's how people learn. It's also how people eliminate fear. Imagine if you have to make a big presentation in front of a group and you're told if you're not doing this right, you'll never be able to make a presentation again. You're gonna freak out. You're going to completely and totally freak out. But what if you're told, listen, this is the worst it's ever going to be, and it's only going to get better from this point on. It's the worst it's ever going to be. The first time you do something is the worst it's ever going to be, then it's going to get better from this point on. Think about the confidence that you're going to have going into that. You're not going to have that fear because you know you're allowed to make mistakes. You know you're allowed to do it. And again, as a coach, a football coach, let's say, as a special teams coach, this is something that always happens. We'll start in the beginning of the year, and guys will say, oh, I think I can long snap, and their first snap is terrible. Or I think I can punt, and their first kick is terrible. And people are like, get them out. They stink. No, it's just the first one. It's going to be the worst one. This kid could be great. He could be great. Maybe he had a bad grip on the ball. Let's work with this. Is time to experiment, time to tinker with these things. So again, you need a multitude of bad ideas to lead to one great idea. That's the environment I want to live in. Okay, we finished our six tips and tricks. See, there's a mistake, and I ain't editing this thing out. I'm not editing it up, not at all. So we've had 6 tips and tricks. If you do not care about Freak of the Week, shut this off and go attack your Monday, because this is 6 Minute Monday. But as always what we do in the advanced training season, we go to tip number 7, the bonus tip, and it's Freak of the Week. Freak of the Week, that stands for fearless, relentless, energized, authentic, and keeper. Again, that's fearless, relentless, energized, authentic, and keeper. And this week's Freak of the Week, unlike last week I named myself one of the co-freaks of the week, which caused a lot of controversy in the advanced training world. People were a little upset, thought I was favoring Sean Mulligan a little too much. If you listen to episode, I think it was 342. Listen, I love you all, guys. I love you all. Just because I gave somebody my gloves does not mean that I love one of you more than the other. It's really amazing that this is a culture where people think I hate them and love someone else more. I love you all the same. Anyway, going to this week's Freak of the Week. This was a tough choice. One of the thoughts was Joe Shalacy, because we did this head-to-head competition, which, by the way, I got smoked in. It was really like a come-to-Jesus moment that I need to fix. I need to fix my lat because I am not the man I used to be. It's really bothering me. Anyway, I got smoked in this competition. I was humbled during this competition. I finished this competition in 27 seconds, and Joe Shalacy finished it in 19 seconds. How embarrassing is that? He probably could have drank an entire protein shake, BioTrust organic protein shake, while I was trying to finish up this drill. So it could have been him, but I decided it's not going to be him. It was too easy. It could have been Rob Wallen, who was debating not even coming to the workout because he still wasn't feeling 100% up to speed. And Rob Wallen, he was in the loser's bracket because his team lost. And he had to compete not one time, not two times, but three times. And still won. But he had to compete three times because the person he was going against just wouldn't let him win. He wouldn't let him win. But Rob Wallen still did win, and I could have gave it to him. But based on some reflection and complemented with some popular demand, guys reaching out to me on the side, this week's Freak of the Week goes to Nick Colombo. That's right, Nick Colombo. It's a name you might not have heard that much on this podcast, but he is a guy who came to us. His cousin, Don Martell, had trained with us a long time ago. He was one of the originals of advanced training. Don Martell was the first guy. We used to always say, break the bar. We really get tight when you squeeze a dumbbell. And Don Martell actually broke a dumbbell, I should say, in Powerhouse Gym. He was a legend amongst legends. So Dom had recommended that Nick join the group. Nick joined the group, and when he started, he wasn't. You could see that he was a tough football player, but he did it on grit. He wasn't that flexible. I could see his ankles were super tight. His body wasn't moving at the speed that it wanted to move. He was all bound up, and it held him back. It held him back. He tried really hard, but it held him back. But this week, in fact, even last week, he showed himself in a completely different light. By the way, in previous Tough Men, he was a guy that I was thinking he might not be able to complete it. Again, not because of lack of toughness, but he just wasn't used to the drills. He was getting used to things. Maybe his body couldn't get into the right positions to push a prowler. Feeling that I know all too well right now because of my hip issue. I can't get into positions I want to get into or out of positions I want to get into. This is not about me. This is about Nick. So I know his pain. That's all I'm saying. So Nick, in the last 2 weeks, has competed not only like an animal. We don't expect him to take reps off or not give it everything he has. He always did that. He's earned the respect of this group because he literally gives it everything he has. But now in the last 2 weeks, I've seen a complete, it's like, when that snap. That's what you're always looking for. To me as a coach, that's what I'm looking for. It's that snap. Remember that comment about you got to make a bunch of mistakes before something good happens. You got to break a few omelets. So you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. It's the same thing with an athlete. You'll coach them, and they're not going to get it. And then one day, the synapses in their brain snap, and it just happens. It just happens. That's my favorite moment as a coach. It used to be the most frustrating thing. I taught this kid perfectly. Why can't he get this hang clean? I taught him perfectly. But then as I learned through my own mistakes as a coach, I realized that it just takes time. And their body's going to figure it out. And I have to say, in the last 2 weeks, I think Colombo's body figured it out. I think it figured it out. Last week, he gave Marechko a run for his money during the head-to-head challenge. Marechko, there's probably not many people better than him at a high-handle prowler push. He beat Joe Sarno, a legend of legends at advanced training, in a challenge championship at a prowler push. He's had the fastest time ever in sprinting and advanced training. So Joe Marechko is no slouch when it comes to the high-handle prowler. And Colombo gave him a run for his money. And then this week, he took Tom Wallen three separate times. They had to go compete again because it was too close to call. Nick just wouldn't let him lose. So if you're asking me, he's Freak of the Week. If you're asking other guys in advanced training, he's Freak of the Week. Probably always for fearless because he's not scared. I mean, there were years where I was like, Nick, are you sure you want to do this? Tough man. He's like, I got it. Nick, you have no cleats. I don't care. I'm not giving up no matter what. He's always had that. But now that click went off. It's the same click that went off for Rob Wallen a couple of years ago. He was stuck. He got it. It's the same click that went off for Jimmy Yuski about 10 years ago. He was stuck. He got it. Now, Jimmy's probably one of, if not the premier guy in advanced training, right? He won the Tough Man last year. He's won multiple challenge championships. Likes to play the underdog, but he's not. So a lot of these guys were stuck. They were stuck, and then boom, they got it. Nick, you were stuck. You got it. You're there now, man. For people that aren't advanced training people, that lesson ties back to that quote from Kevin Kelly. You might be stuck, and then boom, you're going to get it. So I'll leave you all with this last story. It's one I've told before, but it's one it's worth telling again. And it has to do with Michelangelo. It has to do with Michelangelo. So they had this piece of marble that nobody else wanted. Nobody wanted it. They were going to throw it away. And Michelangelo said, you know what? Bring it to me. Bring it to me. I got it. I'm going to do something with this marble. And he starts chipping away and chipping away and chipping away and taking all the bad pieces of the marble off. He's chipping away and he's chipping away until there's no bad pieces left. And when he was done, he created the statue of David. Now think about that. So it could be, if you're stuck, I don't know what to do. Maybe you're just chipping away at those bad pieces until finally you're your own statue of David. Or maybe if you're a coach and you're trying to help somebody, then you're going to help them chip away, and create themselves as their own David. All right, people, that's it. We are done. Go attack your Monday and go and do something with this. Don't just listen to this podcast. Go and do something while you're attacking your Monday with at least one of these tips and tricks. Bye.